I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. This is the beat that we're breaking down in today's video.
Bible.
Doechii's been blowing up like crazy over the last few months. She just won the Grammy Best Rap Album of the Year. She has a pretty unique sound, which is pretty boom bap inspired. There's a few different twists to it. So today I'm going to show you some production techniques that I use while making these beats. There's a few things in there that are a lot different than, your ordinary trap beats. So you definitely want to stick around for those. Starting off, just the overall sound vibe we're trying to go for. Simple boom bap. I'm up at 96 BPM, and I actually started with the drums for these beats. I think especially for like boom bap stuff, it's best to start with the drums and then put the melody over it after. Because some of these beats don't actually even have melody. Sometimes just like a bass guitar or just like some weird sound that's used as a melody or just like a one chord hit. So these beats are very, very simple. So I'll show you what I did for the drums. So that's the first part of the drums. For these boom bap beats, I've noticed a couple things. It's not just like your regular trap beat where you go over to the channel rack and then you lay down like some patterns or whatever. You either just sample sounds from drum breaks individually and then put them into like an MPC or a drum machine and then just fucking play it out. I don't have that equipment. Or you could just sample a drum break. That's what I did here. So I found this drum break and then I chopped it up a little bit to fit more of the pattern that I wanted. Later on in the beat, a little bit more percussion comes in. Just these like random hi-hat things I found, just so there's like a little bit more layers, a little bit more going on. And I like doing my drums that way, where you're taking existing drum breaks or like just individual samples from the drum breaks and just manipulating them into your own pattern. So altogether, this is the drums. Next thing is I actually found this bass guitar from Splice. In my opinion, it's best if you have like a real bass guitar. You can use like an authentic sounding loop. There's not too many good bass guitar VSTs in my opinion, but this is what the loop sounded like. I thought there was a bit too much going on for this style of beat, so I chopped it up to be very just simple and repetitive. It's pretty much just that on repeat. And now if you listen to that with the drums, it matches the rhythm perfectly, so the bass matches the kicks. So at this point, you're almost done with the beat. I know we just started, but these beats are that simple. Now we need some type of melodic element just so it's not too boring. So I'll show you what I did here. I found this stock sound in Analog Lab, and I just laid down some simple chord hits. So I'll show you how I built this chord. This is, I don't know the actual name for this chord. It's using a lot of West Coast shit. It's using a lot of dark shit. I just call it the dark chord. So you lay down your root note and you make just a basic minor chord, which looks like this. But what you can do to make it sound a little bit darker is add this note. And now it has like a weird like tense feeling. And what I did just so it didn't sound too like close together and weird, I spaced some things out. And then to make it a bit brighter, I just layered this E and then went up. And then I layered the bass note as well. But it was just a very simple dark chord, layered it a lot. And you don't have to do a crazy chord progression for these beats. You can literally just have the one chord, or you can have your one chord and then just pitch it. So don't worry about whether it's in key or not. You can literally do something like this, like. So like use the same chord once you have your first chord and then like just pitch that around rather than like making different chords and shit. Like it's that simple. So this is like a whole different rhythm I could have used. Now that I made that, I actually kind of like it. I could so make another beat with that. Just so it wasn't too simple, I layered the chords in a bunch of different sounds. I gave it a little bit of a melody. So this right here is just that exact same chord, except I pitched it up an octave and then I strummed it a shit ton. I'm sure you guys know how to strum, but I'll give you guys a little example if you don't know. Here, I don't even know if this is a chord, just random notes. Sounds like shit, but that's besides the point. You want to go Option S or Alt S if you're on Windows. And then this little strum menu, and then you just kind of like pull this to as much as you want. I had it very dramatic, so I pulled it over a lot. I then found this flute in arcade, and that was just like one little note hit. Then I found these little violin trills just to give it something, just so it's not the same chord over and over again. Now altogether, this is the melodic portion of the beat. It's very simply that on repeat. The reason I had so many different layers is just so I could take out sounds and then it's like the same chords and the same melody playing, except it sounds different. That's why I like to do layers, but you really could have done just one sound, repeat the whole time. Now we're gonna get into some processing. The thing with these like boom bap beats, they're very gritty. So I had this free plugin right here, Saturation Up. I kind of put that on fucking everything. So it's on the bass very slightly just to distort it a little bit. So I'll show you what it sounds like with nothing. And then with. Very subtle, but you can hear like that slight distortion. This is the drums without saturation. And then with. Very, very slight. If I could go back, I probably would have added a little bit more. On the Rhodes, I have this Super VHS plugin, which just gives it a more vintage and sampled feeling. That's what I really wanted to go for these, because, you know, boom bap is primarily built up of samples, but I decided to make my own melody for this. Now we're going to get into the arrangement. So for the structure of these beats, they're very simple because, you know, boom bap is primarily a genre where you kind of just let the beats take a backside and then the rappers kind of just talk their shit on these. So I kept it very simple. For the intro, it was literally just like the 4 count, and then I had some scratches. A couple sound effects in there like this chime, some risers, drum fills. Just so there's a bit of transition in between each section. And then in terms of the actual structure, the drums and the bass line pretty much go throughout the entire beat because that is the base of everything. For the entire hook, I have all the drums, those extra hi-hats going. For the verse, I take it out in the beginning. And then in terms of the melodies, I have a build-up pretty much. So for the intro, there's nothing for the first half, and then just this one layer comes in. But then when we drop into the first hook, there's more layers. Then for the second half of the hook, we have everything. And then dropping back into the verse, we simplify it again. And then that whole structure pretty much repeats. I did something weird for the outro. This has nothing to do with Doechii sound. It was just me trying to be a little bit different. I added like a bunch of melody layers on the chords, and then I just tried to make it like a little bit bigger and cinematic. So this is what we got. That drum loop was just from Splice, and then I just layered a few more sounds for the chords. Overall, when it comes to these beats, less is more. They're very, very simple. But there are a few unique techniques that go into the production, like sampling the drum breaks into your own unique breaks, the way you can manipulate the chord hits into your own melody, the use of dissonance and tension in the melodies. Yeah, overall, it's very simple. If you're struggling to make beats and you want my personal help, we could work together, work on improving your beats, your social medias, all that. Click the first link in the description below. That's where I'm going to leave it here. Click here to watch another video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.